if you're working for Stellantis, one of the companies, Dodge, Chrysler, Ram, just like around here, you need to get your resume ready because the CEO was just in town and he said he's going to cut the plant and he's going to cut jobs by 30% because they need to be more efficient. So look at the lot here, how full it is. And they need to be more profitable. And they said we need to increase profitability by 30%. That's what they're looking at. So all these cars here, and they're not that much profit. They want more profits. Why do they need to make more profits? I'll tell you exactly why. Because BYD, this company right here, is eating their lunch. And I'm somewhat really, really sad about that all these people are going to be let go. But somewhat, I'm kind of glad that there is, because there needs to be a revolution in the car industry that has been waiting to come. Because having all these cars sitting on the lot here, having all these cars is just crazy. You have all these cars sitting on the lot, they're not moving, and there's nobody out here. And all these people that were, selling their cars over asking price, MSRP, and price gouged customers, $7,000, 10, 20 above asking price. And now people are buried in the car like this for $7,000 negative equity. So now you're like, oh, you're a hater. You just don't want the car dealerships to make money. No, I do, but a healthy profit and not price gouging people. So now you're like, what is it with all that I'm like not happy about and what I'm upset about? It's like, okay, BYD is selling a car for $10,000. It's this one right here, 10 grand. They're going to eat the American car market alive. And these old giants, Chrysler, Dodge, cheap Ram, they can go home. They make unreliable cars. When you go to the service department after you bought the car, they don't even know you. And now they're like, hey, we need to make 100% tariffs on imports from BYD because they're gonna take over. Yeah, they are, because it's not because they're, first of all, price, right? And second of all, they probably got a superior product. I've never been in one, but I've seen them, in Asia, right? I've seen them in Asia, but the thing is that these companies in the U.S., they think they got a monopoly and they think they can do what they want. They price gouge customers. They do what they want. And all of a sudden, these Chinese manufacturers saying, you know what? Let's go and compete. Let's go and make a better car. And when you look at them and when you watch the Stellantis report, what they're saying.
Well, it is a highly discouraging news for Motown tonight. After last week's Stellantis investor meeting, CEO Carlos Tavares promised a massive cost-cutting effort. And it's looking as though it will mean considerable job loss for Metro Detroit, particularly at the Auburn Hills office tower. And that's where we find our business editor, Rod Maloney. Rod, not good news at all for the employment picture around here.
No, Devin. In fact, I've been getting rumblings that there could be some hefty layoffs here in Auburn Hills. And Carlos Tavares came to town last week, essentially telling everyone, and he did it deliberately coming here, that he's aiming at this building right here, a building that Lee Iacocca once told me was paid for by the profits made with the minivan.
So it's a great point.
When your CEO comes to town from Europe saying,
we have at least 2 plants in the U.S. that need a significant turnaround. At least 2.
And tells you he's sending European plant managers to come clean up the mess, it should get your attention. But then he talks about what he calls an EV-first strategy and cost-cutting to compete globally with Chinese automakers.
By the way, when we compare to Leapmotor, those 30% cost competitive edge I'm always talking about.
Yes, you did hear that right. He's looking to cut 30% of Stellantis costs. Auto analyst John McElroy says,
well, he's going after the company with an axe right now to get cost out.
Which will no doubt send a massive shockwave through the industry.
I think that the old Chrysler Group, as we've known it in Auburn Hills, is going to be a mere shadow of itself in just a couple of years.
And John says the job loss is likely to be significant.
But they're going to take a lot. We're talking thousands of people.
The old Chrysler Group makes the most money for Stellantis, but also is the biggest cost and set of problems, which means outsourced engineering to low-cost countries like Turkey and Morocco is on the table, which means the old headquarters building is likely headed the way of the Rensen.
The tower almost undoubtedly will be up for sale. Stellantis doesn't need all that office space anymore.
Now, I did call Stellantis Media Relations today. The building was closed for the holiday. They didn't have anybody who could respond to this. But again, I'm hearing rumblings of some big layoffs that could be coming as early as July. In the meantime, I asked John, I said, what does this mean for the domestic three? He says, oh, you mean Ford, GM, and Tesla? He said, Stellantis is no longer an American company. It is a foreign company.
Reporting is that they're like, hey, this other company, Leap Motors, is way more profitable than us, and we need to We need to, compete the right way. So, and I'm like, let me look at Leap Motors and check out how cool of a design they make. They make something innovative. They make something cool. They make something that is, that's new, that's like refreshing, and not just like these other manufacturers that just plop an iPad right in the middle of the dash and say, if you want heated seats, you're going to have to pay a subscription model. It's like, what are you talking about? You spend so much money and then you need to pay subscription models? No, get out. Get out. And when you're like, hey, they're going to lay 30% of people off. Yeah, they are. Unfortunately, they are. But I think in the long run for the consumer, it's going to be better, because let these other car companies compete in the US. Let them compete. Let's see what happens, because you can get now, you see this number, 6,500? That's how much you're upside down. You can get a brand new BYD for 10,000. So that dealership that made you upside down and charged you over asking price, you can get a brand new car for that. You can get a brand new car for that. And now you're like, well, they're going to take all the jobs. Yeah, they are. But guess what? You do not need to pay $900 or $800 a month in car payments. If you do that with a BYD, you're done in 2 years. It's like $10,000. A freaking iPhone is $1,700. So now you're like, hey, for 5 times that, I can get a car. And you can probably put the car in a credit card. So, and then you just buy it. And so you're like, why are we not allowing these people to come into the United States and compete? Because Stellantis, Ford, all these other car companies, they need to start making better cars. They need to start innovate. They need to price drop. It can't be that a minivan costs $60,000. It just can't. Why can these other car companies make a way better, way cheaper car? Yeah, it might not be the quality, but for $10,000, come on. How much are you going to expect from $10,000? And it looks nice. It really looks nice. So now, when you're looking at it, it's like, yeah, all the salespeople standing out front trying to upcharge you, and then they're like, oh, we're going to all get laid off. Well, you've price gouged all your customers, you've upcharged them like crazy, and now karma comes back and bites you, and now you're crying. So I'm really, really hoping that the US government isn't going to bail them out. And I really hope that the president and whoever's going to do it isn't going to put 100% tariffs on these cars. Because I tell you something, even 100% tariffs on a $10,000 car, you can still compete. You can still compete. But hopefully there's going to be some loopholes that they use to get cheaper cars into the US so people can actually save money and invest and do something else, because you're like, oh, the car market industry is huge, like 40 new car price, like 40,000. So if you have 2 cars, like most households do, you have $80,000 wrapped up in car. And now compare that to 20. So that's a huge difference. And I think if you invest $60,000 into stocks, mutual funds, and all that other stuff, you have a huge ROI on that. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind not seeing these lots packed with cars right here, just because what they did to all these consumers during COVID, where they upcharged them so much. I feel like karma's ready to bite, and that what happens. If they were honest and not did it, and I'm not saying everybody, but some of them did, and these people need to go and get out of the car business. And I hope that if you're that much buried in your car, you call them up and you curse them out, because that is just taking advantage of consumers. And I know people say, well, you didn't have to buy. Yeah, of course not. Of course not. But your product, that you've overpaid on a depreciating asset. And so, yeah, I'm just saying, you guys are going to have it in it. And let's see how all these other companies are going to compete, because they're not going to go away. They're going to find ways how to compete and figure out great new ways to come to the US car market, and they flooded Europe, they flooded Australia with their cars. And guess what? There's still, there's still cars running. They still have their own manufacturers. But the key difference is with all these other ones, I don't think that BYD overcharged. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, because I personally think that BYD is just doing what they're doing. And now you can say, well, China's doing all this, they're not competing fair. Well, if they're subsidizing, if the Chinese government is subsidizing cars and we can get them cheaper and the Chinese are building them, it's like, okay, yeah, we lose some jobs, but hey, these people that are now getting their car repoed are going to lose maybe their houses, maybe all their other stuff, because they cannot afford their payment. And it is what goes around comes around. And we've seen it before with Detroit, how the whole thing kind of collapsed, just because of different economic different economic stuff that went on. And now we're at the car bubble 2.0, and I'm just waiting to have it happen. I think the car industry needs to be way more transparent. Car price negotiations and all that needs to be done correctly and smoothly. And yeah, I'm really stoked what's going to happen next. Because look at these lots. These lots are packed with cars. Packed with cars. Last time they had 15 salespeople out there trying to sell cars. And who has money now to buy anything? Who has money to pay for it? And the kicker is that just before I came here and did some research about this video, I looked at one person, like I looked at this finance dude who talks about, sits on a desk and asks people, like, what's your debt? And they're paying like $800 a month for like a Toyota Sienna, like a little minivan. They're paying out of the butt for a Toyota Sienna. And I'm just like, you can't do that to consumers. You as a dealership are robbing them for their future. But you're like, it's it's their fault when they buy it. I didn't tell them to buy it. Yeah, I know, but that's just not right. You can look at it how you want. There's consumer protection laws in almost everything, in almost like every genre, like that they do, but not when you go and buy a car over asking price. No laws there. So karma is gonna strike, and it's gonna strike hard. And I know a lot of people depend on, the car industry, but it's going to be different. And guess what? It might not be worse. And if you can get a car for 10 grand, I'm ready. I am ready. And yeah, see how, we'll see how this all's going to go. But all these salespeople that are standing outside, it's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting what they're going to do, because waiting till you get out of the car and then they jump at you like you're bait. Nah, not interested. Not interested. Wait till BYD builds their plant in Mexico and gets free imports to the US. Not happy about it, but hey, they had it coming. It's like when your big bully gets beaten down, do you think that's that you're gonna be like, haha, oh no, you can't get that. You can't let that happen to him. You can't let your bully be beaten down. No, he had it coming and he got what happened. So let me know if you had to pay over asking price during COVID, and now you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have, now I'm like buried in my car. And I've seen people $30,000 on Kia Tellurides, $30,000 over asking price, and that's just pure profit for them. Make 30 grand a pop, and people needed the car or something. And yeah, I'm ready. I'm not too sorry for him. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Don't see it. I'm sorry for the jobs that get lost, with all these layoffs. I'm just telling you, get your resume ready, start networking, and maybe there's going to be other opportunities in the car market, because car sales will always be a thing, most likely. So you might not work for an American company, but even the CEO from Stellantis said that he asked about the big three. It's like normal, like Fiat, Chrysler, Ford, Chevrolet and Ford. He said, nope, it's Tesla, Ford, and another company. Stellantis is not American anymore; it's European, and they're trying to compete with European, car manufacturers and with BYD. And yeah, I'm ready. Innovate. And what I don't understand is why they didn't do it in the first place. Why didn't Chrysler and all these people start making cars that people really, really want? Something, not just putting a screen right in the middle and on the right side, left side, and all that kind of stuff. Why don't you come up with something new? Come up with something visionary, something that's going to shake the car revolution, not just trying to be behind on everything. So let me know what you guys think. Definitely got to start getting that resume ready. Trying to network on LinkedIn, because if you network on LinkedIn and you're looking for jobs, you're never going to be employed for long, because you always got the iron in the fire. And so let me know how that goes. If you want to join the channel community, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me know what you guys think about all this. And yeah, gonna be a very, very interesting time. So it's a short little video talking about the car market's about to explode. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. But I am over it. I'm over it, because even I have a Chinese built Polestar 2. The build quality is so much better. Works great. Didn't have an issue. I will see you guys in the next one.